You are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast. I'm Dylan. Everyone on Twitter. Here today and latest Auburn athletics news as we are 2 weeks away from Auburn football being back on our televisions. I will say, I apologize for not being here for Thursday. I was very exhausted after the first full week of classes being back in session. So I was unable to record Thursday, but we are back right here for a pre-recorded episode of the Sunday show. And today, I want to talk about my top 5 challenges that Hugh Freeze is going to have to overcome and face during the 2025 season. Now, I've got a couple of things to kind of work with here because I'm going to be calling out some people, mainly the whole entire Auburn football fan base, for why I think Hugh Freeze is going to have some challenges to overcome outside of just on the field. Because I think the main thing is, I'm going to go, just get to number 5. Number 5 is keeping the fans happy. That is number 5. Getting right into it, keeping the fans happy has been such a difficult thing for any Auburn football coach to do since 2017, 2019, one of those years. That of course Auburn fans were happy early stages of 2021 when they were 5-6-2, and lo and behold, fell apart. But what's been happening this week? And again, there's no like big news that's coming out of Auburn football right now. I mean, the depth charts haven't been announced. You pretty much understand who's the starter and who's not the starter. And Auburn fans are making a big deal about practice. And we're talking about practice. Go ahead and cue the Allen Iverson cue there. We're talking about practice. Hugh Freeze got upset earlier this week. It made comments about it too. Jackson Arnold, the presumed starter for Auburn football in the year 2025, which, again, season starts in a couple of weeks. Jackson Arnold, during a practice, which, again, you want to get everything right, but one play during a practice, missed a read. And, of course, this read would have ended up being a touchdown. Hugh Freeze, being a football coach, got upset about a missed read that would have been a touchdown. So what does Hugh Freeze do? He throws his hat, gets mad at Jackson Arnold for missing a read. Coaching opportunity. And that's what he made it. Made a comment about it, saying, basically stating, we can't have missed scoring opportunities this season. Hugh Freeze understands how important this season is. Auburn fans understand how important this season is. The Auburn players, the students, the analysts, the journalists, the podcasters understand how important this season is for Auburn and Hugh Freeze. Explain to me, this happens, right? And for some unbeknown reason, it becomes news. It becomes a headline, which is so stupid. It's so dumb. I texted like 3 people asking them, why is a coach coaching his players news? Listen, I cover Auburn football. And, I will be honest, I like to be a little unbiased when it comes to things. But when it comes to Auburn, I can't do it. It's hard for me to do. I watch Auburn football religiously. My fiance can speak on that as well. When Auburn football misses opportunities to score, I'm going to tell you, I love my hats to death, but they are some of the first things that get thrown across the room because remotes are expensive. So are hats, but hats are flexible. So my hat gets thrown whenever Auburn misses opportunity, turnovers happen. It happens. I know for a fact I'm not alone in that. Fans get upset when things happen in a negative manner. Hugh Freeze's biggest challenge, or one of the biggest challenges, like off the field, is keeping the fans happy. Because, again, it's something that Auburn fans haven't had in quite some time. And, oh, my Lord, we're talking about him throwing his hat over a missed touchdown on one play on one day of practice, and we're using this as material to throw the season away. It's not just Auburn fans. Every other fan base is in the team. But every coach does this. I'm sure you could find plenty of clips of Kirby Smart and Ryan Day or just throw Dan Lanning, throw it all the way on the West Coast. The only difference between them is only one of those coaches out of Hugh Freeze, Ryan Day, Dan Lanning, Kirby Smart. Only one of those coaches is under a microscope. Listen, speaking as an Auburn fan, again, I'm not the oldest Auburn fan in the world. I'm only 25 years old, consciously been an Auburn fan for 20 plus years. I understand what every Auburn fan is feeling going into this year. Auburn has sucked the past 2 seasons. I'm being generous. 4 seasons, 5 seasons. Auburn has sucked and has not lived up to expectations. Well, guess what? Expectations are higher than ever this year. And this roster is talented enough to meet those expectations. But, oh, my Lord, you got to give this team a chance first. We are 2 weeks away from Auburn football, and we are over here getting upset about one play at practice. Listen, fans, if Jackson Arnold makes a stupid play versus Baylor on August 29th at 7 o'clock, sometime past 7 o'clock, if he makes a wrong read, throw your hat. Get mad, okay? It's a game. But Hugh Freeze throws his hat out of practice, and it's newsworthy. Shut up. Shut up. So, yeah, keeping the fans happy is going to be a difficult thing. The fans, again, are split on whether or not the season is going to be a good one or a bad one. I'm still on my 8-4 bandwagon, and I will die on that hill until I get proven wrong. But, oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Practice? Get off Twitter. If that play made you mad, if that made you think any less about the season than you were thinking before, get off Twitter. Get off Twitter. Make your own. Read magazines. Go look at ESPN odds. Go do something else to prepare yourself for the football season. Get off Twitter. There's no way you're getting that mad or that eerie, getting an eerie feeling about the season because Hugh Freeze got upset his quarterback missed a touchdown at practice. Let Hugh Freeze coach his team. Good Lord. And that caused me to cough. There we go. All right. So continuing on, moving past the keeping fans happy. That was number 1. So hopefully we're not spending 8 minutes on the rest of these. Number 4, maintaining team discipline. Now, this is a challenge already being faced by Hugh Freeze throughout this year already. You had a few arrests happen. You had Malcolm Simmons. Charges were dropped, so Malcolm Simmons is back on the team completely. But you had 2 other guys. One guy is still suspended, Hollis Davidson, as far as I'm aware, still suspended. I've not heard any recent word on him. And, of course, CJ Barber earlier in the offseason getting kicked from the team. So that's 3 arrests made this season. So it's kind of stopping that in its tracks. Keeping players more accountable, which I appreciate. You suspend a player, have cut one, and then you offered a chance to give the other one a spot to get a chance to stay with the team. But good Lord, I listen. I'm not one to not make. I am one to make jokes about players. My fiance, my beautiful fiance, Georgia fan. Believe me, there have been plenty of jokes thrown towards Georgia's way about players not knowing how to drive in Athens. But then, good Lord, 3 players in a row for Auburn. So just kind of finding a way to kind of straighten your players back out. Again, that's a challenge every coach is going to face in college football. And it's something that you just kind of – these college football players – and again, Nick Saban talks about giving players second chances. And I understand that to a certain degree. And if not every arrest is going to be warranted a second chance. DJ Barber, example of that. So just kind of straighten your team back out and preparing for the season. Again, this is not, again, it has not been a thing recently, or before recently. It's just 3 things within like a week and a half of each other. So just kind of keeping that maintained, keeping that corralled. So that's another challenge. Up next, closing the gap in recruiting. Now, we've already talked about Jace Matthews a lot already. I think it's a massive pickup, and it could be the turning point Auburn needs. But, you got to get that momentum rolling. Auburn currently in the 50s in recruiting per 24/7. I think a little higher on 3. Auburn has a chance to continue to build that momentum this week with Braylon Womack. 5-star safety out of Mississippi. Be a massive, massive pickup, and Auburn would jump up quite a few spots if they pull that off. Auburn's currently favored to grab them. I think the Fong bomb already went off for Braylon Womack to Auburn. Crystal ball is already dropping for him to come to Auburn. All Auburn has to do is close the deal. And that's a 5-star right there. That is a 5-star safety for Auburn to grab. And it'd be massive. And again, momentum builder, the snowball effect, it starts getting a lot colder on the plains again. Yeah, and recruiting, it's been slow. I can't say it's been bad, but it's been slow. You lost, 3 commits to other schools, losing Devin Carter to Florida State, Shadarius Tootle to Georgia, and losing Denarius Gray to Kentucky. Able to pick up some steam again with Jace Matthews and, of course, some other players that you got before then. Braylon Womack helps keep the fan base happy, but also it proves that, recruiting is on the right track. Auburn fell off in recruiting, and it didn't feel like Auburn was not recruiting at all. It just felt like Auburn was cautiously waiting for any changes in rules. And it's something I just like Auburn. It felt like Auburn was trying to do it right. So they were kind of struggling to get recruits because they were trying to do it the right way, which I won't discredit, but I also don't know if it's true or not. But if Auburn's trying to recruit the right way, say Kentucky's over here making offers that only their with checks only their basketball team can cash because, the NCAA rules say one thing and now they say another thing. Well, that player isn't going to get that check. So Auburn trying to recruit the right way. And I think that could be a theory as to why it's not going as planned right now, or it feels as different. Because like 2023, 4, and 5, those classes have all been, 23 class was mostly signing day when everything happened. But 24, 25, I mean, those were hot streaks leading up. And then 26 just kind of hit a wall for a little bit. So, yeah, Auburn's trying to close the gap. I think it's another challenge. Throughout the season, you got to win football games to maintain a class. And I think this year can get you to that point. So, Braylon Womack, again, Jace Matthews being that first step. Braylon Womack is the second step, and then it just keeps going up from there. So I think Auburn's doing a great job trying to build that momentum up. All right, number 2, beating an Alabama or a Georgia. And I could have just put beating a rival here. Hugh Freeze has been close. He has been so very, very close to beating Alabama or Georgia in either year that he has been here thus far. And that's, I don't want to say worrisome. I almost said worrisome. That it's encouraging to a degree that Auburn has had moments where it's been so close. This is the year to get one of those on your side. This is the year to turn one of those losses to wins. Again, I like the Iron Bowl a lot this year. And of course, by week 2, I can give you a good idea of what I feel about Auburn. But I think around the Oklahoma game, I'll be able to really kind of get an idea of both teams. But you got both of them in Jordan-Hare this year. Georgia's a night game. Bama's probably more likely going to be a 3:30 kick, 2:30 kick, whichever one. But they're both in Jordan-Hare. get a bye week kind of for both of them. You get a bye week really for Georgia, but you get Mercer for Alabama. You get opportunities to get your get back. It'd be massive. I think even, if you could start the year 4-0 and you lose by like 10 points to Georgia, 7-10, I'll say 7-10, you are going into the rest of the season with a large amount of hype for the remainder. So if 4-0 Auburn loses to Georgia and it starts off 4-1, and it only lost by 7 or 10 points to Georgia, I mean, the rest of that schedule kind of feels like cake. And then the Iron Bowl comes around. You're looking at it a 10-1 Auburn versus a whatever and what Alabama, and then it can be crazy. This is not predictions. This is just me hypothetically speaking. But yeah, Auburn has an opportunity to do some damage this year. I don't imagine. I think Georgia's still gonna be very good. I'm not seeing the hype for Alabama quite yet. I'm not seeing it yet. But yeah, I think this is another big challenge for him to face, is trying to take down one of those rivals that he's been unable to beat thus far. I mean, Hugh Freeze is one of the rare coaches in college football that have actually beaten Alabama twice, active coaches at least. So opportunities are there. And I think number one, pretty obvious, consistency on the offensive side of the football. Some Auburn fans have been waiting for since, good Lord, 2017. Since last time Auburn had an offense that was, consistently being very good. Auburn's been consistently mediocre the past few years. I think, again, this comes down to Jackson Arnold and how some of these question marks surrounding the offense can kind of answer themselves early. A quick start versus Baylor fills the entire east side of Alabama with so much confidence. Jackson Arnold is, again, one of the biggest boomer bust players here for Auburn. And even then, I feel like a Jackson Arnold that meets the same stat line as Peyton Thorne, not efficiency, stat line as Peyton Thorne, I think does you a lot of good. But I think you're going to expect a big year passing the football out of Jackson Arnold because of this wide receiver room you're looking at. Running back room, I don't think you have to rely too much on the running backs per se. You have to rely more on the stable. Let me rephrase that. You don't have to rely so much on one running back. You rely more on the stable. The tight ends, I think, are a question mark. I think Preston Howard's going to be a very good tight end for Auburn receiving the ball. I think Brendan Frazier is also a very good blocking tight end. So you have a nice little mix up there. And the offensive line, I think, is going to be very good. I think this offense is going to be way better than what we've seen in previous years. And not just better in the sense of stats, better in the case of consistency. I think this roster is built to compete, and I think this offense is built to win the games you were unable to last year because of the offense. And I was looking at Arkansas. I was looking at a game like Cal last year. That's looking at Missouri. That's looking at Vanderbilt. Games Auburn could have won with a consistent offense. So those are my biggest challenges Hugh Freeze will have to face going into the 2025 year. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Of course, that's going to do this on the College Loop podcast. We'll be back on the Tuesday show talking about the Iron Bowl in the Way Choice of the previous series, wrapping up that game or that series. But of course, I'm going to take on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram as well at Dylan DYLNLRCK. If you're looking for me at YouBoy the Tank, it's going to be on TikTok and it's on Twitter. It's just right there in the bottom left corner. And of course, you can find me on Instagram as well at Tank.Football. Trying to get that page consistently posting. I've not posted in a while, but of course, I'm trying my best. But of course, trying to get some content up on other pages over here on YouTube. So stay tuned for that whenever those first go live. But of course, check us out right in the College Loop podcast. Like, comment, subscribe. Getting so close to 1,000 subscribers. Be super cool to reach that. I don't know if before the football season is a reasonable goal set to post, but I would love to reach 1,000 by the midway through the season. Be super, super cool to meet that goal. It's something I've been dreaming of seeing for the longest time. So yeah, help us reach that goal. 1,000. Only got 49 subscribers to go to get there. So thank you all for tuning in to the College Loop podcast yet again. And as always, War Eagle.